Shizzle dizzle. We got an excellent show here today. I know I always say we got an excellent show here today, but I got some good news. Y'all see the title? NATO and Mr. Z, Mr. Green Shirt T-shirt, finally seeing the reality of the Ukraine situation and U.S. involvement in it. Now, when I say U.S. involvement in it, meaning our current stance with our current president, which is let me get this damn leaf hopper out of here. Good deal. Okay. Which is it looks like Trump is going to walk away from NATO. That's how it looks so far. It looks like Trump is going to walk away from NATO. It looks like as so far it looks like it looks like which the reality is the truth is that NATO has to concede to the territories. NATO has to uh, not have any expectation of Ukraine has shouldn't have no expectation of NATO membership. That's out of the question. Um, Definitely the four territories being Zaporozhye, Crimea, Luhansk, Donetsk. Also, I think Bakhmut is part of Luhansk, or is it Donetsk? Donetsk. Luhansk, I think, is either the southern. No, no. I think Luhansk is the northern region. Donetsk being the eastern region. So, and then Bakhmut being the most central region that they, one of the biggest mass of territories that they conquered last year with Wagner, with beginning Prigozhin, and yeah, and I want to say General Troigu also. So let me. Uh, Seem like I'm sitting crooked. It's my phone that's crooked though. So yeah, on my horizon, so became very nervous when Donald Trump and Vladimir Putin had the phone call, and then the aftermath of the phone call. Like I said before, first name basis. They were on the phone for 2 hours. Neither one of them wanted to hang up, and so, which sounds like a very friendly phone call. And you no longer hear ceasefire, ceasefire, ceasefire. You don't hear that anymore because Putin has made it clear to Donald Trump that we've done the ceasefire several times and it didn't work out. Minsk one, Minsk two accords, and we Russians, we mean what we say what we mean, and we don't go for the BS. And apparently, um, in so many nice words, I'm sure Putin expressed to Trump that, hey, you guys, I won't even say you guys, Europe, let's just say Europe, because Angela Merkel was the one of Germany was the one to say, hey, we use those ceasefires just so we could rearm Ukraine. And so Putin, I'm pretty sure, expressed to Trump that, hey, um, no, no, no. We don't want no ceasefire. We want a final solution, a final resolve for this war. We don't want to stall it. We want to end it. You, Trump, you say you want to end it. Well, this is what we need to in order to end it. By the way, Mr. Trump, I don't know if you know, but we have gained territories, and this is how it all started. And he surely went into the whole spiel about the separation and all that. And Trump was listening, and I think it was mostly Trump listening to Putin's side of the story because remember, Trump uh, is only getting so much information, accurate information, and so he had to hear the whole thing from Putin because you know how long-winded Putin is. Putin be telling some. Uh, he'll go into the whole history, so he definitely did not lack and did not go into the history when telling Donald Trump about the whole Donbass region having referendums separating Ukrainian constitution, stating that the Maidan Revolution, the sham trials, and oh by the way, I believe the assistant of Poroshenko got shot today in Italy. What a tragedy, because they're talking about having elections again in Ukraine, and so Zelensky is doing everything in his power to delay, delay the inevitable. Delay. Zelensky um, did not want to put the delegation team together in Istanbul. He did not want to do it, but he was somewhat pressured to do it. And one of the negotiators that he did assemble when they met on when they were supposed to meet on Thursday, but they met on Friday, end up hightailing up out of there, and they don't know where this man is. I can tell you where the man is. The man hightailed it to Greece. That's where he hightailed it to. He went to Greece. So um, he changed his identity and everything. So yeah, you're not gonna find that man no more. He doesn't want to go down with the sinking ship, that being Ukraine. So, um, so the good news is that I think after the phone call, just the description of how friendly Vladimir Putin and President Trump were made the realization come to NATO that hey, um, America's not going to back this nonsense anymore. Ukraine, supporting Ukraine, and America's not on the board anymore. And Trump, like I said, Trump just started his year one of his administration, and on his plan is to end the war in Ukraine. That is going to happen, hopefully soon. Hopefully soon. If America backs out like that, I think we're going to back out. Then Ukraine would only have they would have less than a year to survive the onslaught of Russia. There would no longer be any reason. Like I said, the only reason why Ukraine is lasting this long is because of United States support. Now, what I think Trump is allowing NATO to do is allow NATO time to regroup and decide what they're going to do. Is will the NATO nations, excluding America, go all in, or will they come to the realization, you know what, this war is really not beneficial for us, and yeah, I think it's time to let it go. Um, for some reason, now Trump left out England when did a he did a posted on True Social. He named all these countries, Italy and even Macron, but he did not mention Prime Minister of England at all. And if y'all remember, Boris Johnson, last time there were some peace negotiations between Putin and Zelensky, Boris Johnson messed that all up. He said, don't sign the peace deal, and he messed it all up. England ran over there. Now, I will say, with the help of Joe Biden, help uh, dismantle and put that whole Minsk II Accords upside down. This time, there's no Joe Biden, and there's no Boris Johnson. However, England is still in the picture trying to sabotage these peace deals. However, I think Boris Johnson was brave because of the Biden administration. But without, like I say, America backing, uh, by America wanting a peace deal and wanting to end the war, it will pretty much go in that direction. It's not up to Europe. It's up to Trump. It's up to Putin. It's up to Trump. It's up to Putin. About the war ending, but as far as the negotiations, that's all Putin right there. Putin holds the cards because what are they going to do? Sanction Russia? I mean, what are they going to do? Sanction Russia? That's what they're going to do. Put more sanctions on Russia. Russia bad. You know, we put sanctions on Russia, and their economy actually gotten better. BRICS has gotten stronger. Y'all know I did the shows on during the Biden administration and how BRICS began to grow and get stronger and get stronger. And so by sanctioning Russia, you would also have to sanction South Africa. You would have to sanction. And speaking of South Africa, and that's why Trump did the bully tactic in order to strong arm South Africa. But South Africa has to make a choice because BRICS right now is a conglomerate of countries that have been put under sanctions. And so now, would that make a difference? Because, like I said, under the Biden administrations, they have gotten stronger. Now, Donald Trump, with the South Africa thing, he's selling the South African president, white farmers. He kept straightening, white farmers are dying. In a sense, I get that. I do keep up with African news, and I will say that you know there is definitely some truth, some of it exaggerated, but there's definitely some truth in the whole South Africa whites, white Afrikaners being. Well, we know their land's being taken, but hell, I guess with the land being taken, them being killed in the process. So uh, I will not even attempt to try to even dispute that because yeah, there's a lot of truth in that. So, but again, do I think it's exaggerated? Maybe. Trump he does have a tendency of exaggerating things sometimes, but we'll give Trump that this go around because I want to get back to the whole Putin sanctioning Putin is not going to work. And Marco Rubio and uh, people like Kellogg and all them, man, I don't know. Trump needs to replace them, replace them, replace them ASAP because they're working against the Trump administration. And Trump doesn't know, like I said, Trump only knows what they're feeding him about Russia. Just like a lot of Americans, oh, Putin is bad. They get their information from CNN, Fox, ABC, NBC, wherever, and believe the propaganda, whatever propaganda is that propped against Putin, they run with it. Unfortunately, they run with it. And I only say that Trump is somewhat in a bubble because of what he said about World War II. And when he mentioned about World War II, I was like, "Oh, wait a minute, Trump. That's inaccurate." So, but again, a lot of people believe that. A lot of educated people here in the U.S., a lot of people that have gone to goddamn military schools and academies believe the same exaggeration, being that yes, we were part of the victory in World War II, and I would think we marched on Berlin weeks after. Okay, I don't know what that. I heard like a horn. I don't know what was that was, but weeks after We marched on Berlin after the Russians marched on Berlin. And I will get that general's name, but our general was General Patton. And General Patton was very sour and upset because he was unable to beat this general. I will get his name, and I will start doing my research on this general. But this general, um, it was personal with Stalin when he marched on, had to march on. Because remember, Hitler tried to march on Moscow, and so it wasn't even about Russia trying to race with the U.S. It was personal. The U.S. Patton was trying to, I want to be, no, be the one who marches on Berlin, and I understand that and get it for historical reasons and his name going down in history and blah blah blah. But with the Russians, it was personal. It was personal. The Nazis marched on Moscow. They failed, of course, but just the fact that they violated that space of Russia, Russia wanted that get back and return the favor with the same energy, and they did. And unfortunately for America and General Patton, he didn't get there in time. Russia had already planted their flags and um, I guess captured or killed whatever Nazis were left over. And yeah, most of the Nazis flew though, because once Hitler decided to stay in his bunker, um, a lot of the Nazis began to, along with Heinrich Himmler, began to um, access escape routes. Unfortunately for Heinrich Himmler, he was caught before he could get to the sides of the Allies because he had worked out a deal, like many Nazis had worked out a deal to avoid being captured by the Soviets. And so, um, just being that little chunk of history that I just talked about, Trump, like a lot of people in America, believe that, yeah, which we did win the war, but look at the exaggeration. We won the war, but we did not march on Berlin. And the march on Berlin is very significant. Now, you can say, well, we did march on Berlin after the fact. You know, Patton did march on Berlin, but it was, for us, it was a race. It was the significance of planting that flag first. And so, you know, that's that'll forever haunt Patton. Patton, one of the general that wanted to race to Berlin, uh, died a bitter man because of that. And so, um, moving forward to 2025, today, um, Europe feels a type of way about Putin and Trump having a conversation because Trump has been I think what's been happening is Trump has was being fed a narrative. He's been fed a narrative, fed a narrative, fed a narrative, just like everybody in else in the U.S. They fed the narrative and then they run with that narrative. And this is the position Trump is in before he talked to Putin. But now that he talked to Putin,